Welcome to MRL. In this learning session, we will learn about square roots and the properties of square roots and how to find the square root of a number. Now this is an important topic of discussion or important chapter in Ganith Prakash, the 8th grade NCERT textbook. So let us understand as to what is the square root then. Now if you find the square of 2, you get 4. You find the square of 3, you get 9. Square of 4 is 16. Now the question is how to get back 2 from 4. We got 4 because I squared 2, I got 4. I squared 3, I got 9. I squared 4, I got 16. But how to get back 2 from 4? How to get back 3 from 9? Or how to get back 4 from 16? So that process or that procedure of finding out 2 from 4 is nothing but finding the square root of 4. Therefore, if n is, if I square n, I get n square. But to get back n, I have to find the square root of n square. I'll get back n. Therefore, we say if square of 2 is 4, then square root of 4 is 2. If square of 3 is 9, then square root of 9 is 3. Square of 4 is 16, then square root of 16 is equal to 4. Therefore, square root is the reverse operation of finding the square of a number. Suppose n is a natural number and its square is m square, then square root of n is m. Rather symbolically, square root of n is equal to square root of m square, and that is equal to m. The symbol of square root is a radical sign, and the number to be the number of which we have to find the square root is the radicand. So this is the radical sign. The order is 2 here. So that is what you have to remember. Now every number has 2 square roots. That means if I take minus 2 square, it is 4. If I take plus 2 square, it is 4. If I take the square root of 4, it has to be minus 2. If I take the square root of 4, it has to be plus 2. Therefore, every number has 2 square roots. Like square root of 4 is either minus 2 or plus 2. Therefore, every square root has 2 square roots. Every number has 2 square roots, but we generally take the positive square root as the value. Now what are the methods of finding the square roots of given numbers? Now there are different methods. We have got the factors method, the long division method, the subtraction method, and the unit sentence digit method. So let us understand each method by taking one example. Now let us go to the factors method first. Now we are given a number 6724. We have to find the square root of that. Find the factors of 6724, that is prime factors. That means you find that the prime factors are 2, 2, 41 and 41. So square root of 6724 will be square root of 2 into 2 into 41 into 41. Pair them and take one factor from each pair. We get 2 into 41, that is 82. Therefore square root of 6724 is 82. So the procedure is very simple. Find the prime factors of the given number, pair them and take one factor from each pair and take the product of those pairs take the product of that, and we get the square root of the given number. In the long division method, this is slightly a different method. You have to understand this. So let me explain this to you slowly so that you understand it better. Let us say you want to find the square root of 529. So first step is write 529, put a horizontal line on the above 529 and a vertical line as I've shown, and pair the numbers or the digits of 529. Always start pairing from right to left. So the first pair is 29 and the second pair is 5. Although there is only one digit, still it is taken as a pair. So we are paired from right to left. 2, 9 is one pair and 5 is another pair. Now find a number where the square of which is equal to 5 or less than 5, and the number is 2. 2 square is 4. We cannot take 3 here because 3 into 3 becomes 9. So 2 into 2 is 4. So I have taken 2. 2 into 2 is 4. Subtract 4 from 5, we get 1, and then add that 2 to this 2, there we get 4. Leave a gap here, leave one digit gap. Now bring 2 9 down, we get 129. Now choose a digit at this gap, that is I have chosen 3, and multiply 4 3. The 2 digits number has to be multiplied by 3. I get 43 into 3 is 129, and the remainder is 0. And once the remainder becomes 0, then 23 is 100% a square root of 529, and the square root of 529 is a perfect square. So that is how we find out the square root of any number by long division method. We'll take a few more examples afterwards. Now let us find the least number that must be subtracted to make a number a perfect square. Now to find the least number that must be subtracted, please understand this, that must be subtracted, not multiplied or divided, to make the given number a perfect square. Now we have been given a number here 2361. Now first of all let us check whether it's a perfect square or not by long division method. Now let us pair the numbers first. 61 is one pair, 23 is another pair. Now find a digit 4 which square of which is 16, which is less than 23. I cannot take 5 because 5 square is 25, it is more than 23. So 4 into 4 is 16, subtract, we get 7, and add 4 to 4, we get 4 plus 4 is 8, leave one digit gap here. Now bring 61 down, choose a digit here such that the 88 multiplied by the digit 8, I get less than a number less than 761, and I have got 704 here. I have got the remainder as 57. At 57 from 2361, we get 2304. Find the square root of 2304. We find that the remainder becomes 0, and the answer is 48. Therefore, the square root of 2304 is 48. That means we have to subtract 57 from 2361 to make it a perfect square. So now coming to the next example, to find the least number that should be added to a number to make it a perfect square. So you are given a number 7390. First let us check whether it's a perfect square or not by long division method. So pair it first. So start from right to left. 90 is one pair, 73 is another pair. Now choose a digit 8. 8 square is 64, and 64 is less than 73. I cannot take 9 because it becomes 81. So 8 square is 64, subtract it, I get 9. Now add 8, we get 16. Leave one digit gap here. Now choose a digit here so that when I multiply by the same digit, I get a number less than 990, and I've got 825 here. If I go for 6, it will be more. Therefore, I have stopped it at 5, and I got 165 into 5 is 825, and the remainder is 165. Once you get the remainder as 165, it is a positive remainder. Now there are two ways of finding out the number which has to be subtracted. The one method is take the square of 86, one number more than this, that is 86. Take the square of 86, that is square of 86, subtract 7390, you will get 6. So 6 has to be added to 7390 to make it a perfect square. Or another method is, when you get by taking 5 digit here, I get 165 into 5 is 825. Instead of that, take one digit more. Instead of 165, you take 166. 166 into 6 becomes 996. 996 is greater than 990, and you get a remainder as minus. So if you, as soon as you see that the remainder is minus here, minus 6 here, that means 6 has to be added to 7390 to make it a perfect square. So that is the method. So please remember this, learn this method. You have to practice this to understand it. Okay, remember that. Now coming to the next important point, that is square root of rational numbers. Now you are given a rational number 9 by 16, you have to find the square root of that. One method is apply the law of exponents here, root of a, law of radicals here. Root of a by b is equal to root of a by root of b. Root of 9 by 16 is root of 9 by root of 16, that is root of 3 into 3, root of 4 into 4. Square root of 3 into 3 means 1 factor you have to take, that is 3, and 4 into 4 means 1 factor you have to take 4. Therefore the square root of 9 by 16 is 3 by 4. Now the next example is, if you want to find out square root of 9 into 100, very simple again, apply the rules of radicals. Root of a into b is equal to root a into root b. So root of 9 into 100 is root of 9 into root of 100. Root of 9 is nothing but 3 into 3. 100 is 10 into 10. Take one factor. So 3 into 10, that is 30. So that is how we find out the square root by factors method. We can also find this by long division method. Multiply 9 into 100 becomes 900. Then go by long division method. You find that 3 into, pair it first. 2 zeros is one pair, 9 is another pair. So choose a digit here. 3 into 3 becomes 9, 9 minus 9 is 0. Now add 3, you get 6. Then bring 2 zeros down. You see here 60 into 0 is 0, 0, 0. Therefore the square root of 900 is 30, and it is 100% correct. Now the square root of decimals. Square root of decimals, let us say for example, you want to find square root of 0.25. One method is convert into fractions. 0.25 becomes 25 by 100. Now apply the rules of radicals there. Root of 25 root 100. Then it becomes root of 5 into 5. Root of 10 into 10 becomes 5 by 10. And 5 by 10 is nothing but 0.5. Therefore square root of 0.25 is equal to 0.5. Otherwise directly also you can find out. Only consider 25 here. When we take 25, if I take the square root of that, becomes 5. But again the decimal point is after 2 decimal places, put here after 1 decimal place, you get 0.5, and that is how we solve the objective questions. Now to find the square root of 0.4081, one method is consider only 81, find the square root of 81 is 9. After 6 digits the decimal point is there, put the decimal point after 3 places, so the answer is 0.009. If you want to go by the direct method, that is square root of 81 by 1 followed by 6 zeros, square root of 81 is 9 and square root of 1 followed by 6 zeros will be 1 followed by 3 zeros, that is 9 by 1000 and that is 0.009. So learn that. Now coming to the next example, if you want to find out the square root of a decimal number of the form 81.5409, now in this case what you have to do is you have to pair the number digits for the whole part from right to left and for the decimal part from left to right. So I have paired here, this is 81 and for this it will be 54 is the first pair and 09 is the second pair, and the procedure remains the same. So take 81 the first pair, now choose the digits, when you multiply by the same digit you should get 81 or less than 81, 9 9s are 81, 100% 81 minus 81 becomes 0 0, add 9 and then you get 18, leave one gap here. Now bring 54 down. Now I cannot take any digit other than 0 because 180 into 0 is 0 0. So 54 minus 0 becomes 54. Bring 09 down, add 0 here, we get 180 and choose a digit such that when I multiply by the same digit either it is less than 5409 or equal to 5409, and we find here 1803 into 3 is 5409 exactly. Subtracted you get the remainder as 0. Once the remainder comes 0 then 9.03 is the square root of 81.5409. So try to understand that. And very interesting thing is, if there is one pair of whole part there is only single digit in the square root. If there are 4 digits in the decimal part there are 2 digits in the square root. So this is a very interesting way of understanding that the answer is correct. Now to find the square root of non-perfect squares, we know that 2 is a non-perfect square and square root of 2, it is being an irrational number, 2 is an irrational number, it will have a non-terminating and non-recurring decimal expansion, and to find out the square root of root 2 we can go by long division method. Now let us understand how to do that. Let us say for example you want 3 decimal places, so you have to put 6 zeros there after the decimal point. So let us go for first, that is we have got 1 pair, 2 pair, 3 pair and the 1 pair in the whole part. Now take the whole part first. So 1 into 1 is 1, which is less than 2, 2 minus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, bring one pair of zeros down, we get 100. So leaving the digit, one digit I have left here, so choose a digit so that when I multiply by 24 by that digit I get a number less than 100 or equal to 100. So 24 into 4 is less than 100, 96. Subtracted, 10 minus 6 is 4, 10 minus 9 is 10 minus 10, that means 0 it is. Then add 4 here, it becomes 28, leave one place here and bring 2 zeros down, we get 400. Now choose a digit here, I cannot choose it as 2 because 282 becomes more than 400. So 281 into 1 becomes 281. Subtract, 10 minus 1 is 9, 10 minus 9 is 1 and 4 minus 3 is 1. Bring 2 zeros down again, add 1 here, you get 282. Now choose a digit here such that when I multiply it is less than 11900, and I find that 2824 into 4 gives me 11296, which is less than 11900. Subtracted we get 604. So this procedure or this process will continue because the square root of root 2 is a non-terminating, non-recurring decimal expansion, and this is how we find out the value of non-perfect squares. And we know that square root of 2, square root of 3, square root of 7 and so on, they will give us the decimal expansions which are non-terminating and non-recurring in nature. So remember that. Now coming to the next important topic, point here, that is we have to find the square root of a number by subtraction method. We know the sum of consecutive odd numbers is a perfect square, so therefore when I subtract the 7 consecutive odd numbers I get the difference as 0. As soon as that means the square root of 49 is 7. So when the difference comes 0, then count the number of steps we go down, so 7 steps, therefore square root of 49 is 7. So please remember this method, and the method is the sum of consecutive odd numbers is a perfect square. Therefore when I subtract the consecutive odd numbers we definitely get the square root of that. So the next point, The units and tens digit method, again another method of finding out the square root. First, for this you have to remember that when I take the square of 0, the digit in the units place is 0 in the number, then the digit in the units place is also 0 in the square root. If it is 1, it is 1 and 9. If it is 4, 2 and 8. 5, 5 only. 6, 4 and 6. And if it is 9, it will be 3 or 7. If it is 9, it will be 3 or 7. So let us understand that. Now coming to the next very important point, that is square root of 1024 you have to find. You want to find 1024. Square root of 1024, digit in its place is 4. Take the first pair here. Pair it first. 10 is one pair, 24 is another pair. Take the first pair to 4. Digit in its place is 4. If the digit in its place is 4, then the digit in the square root will be 2 or 8. The digit in its place of square root is 2 or 8. Now after having completed the first pair, take the next pair, that is 10, and we know that 10 lies between 3 square and 4 square. 10 lies between 3 square and 4 square, that is between 9 and 16. Therefore 10 is definitely 4 square is greater than 10, therefore I have to take 3 square, that is 9. Therefore the digit in the tens place is 3. Therefore square root of 1024 is either 32 or 38. But by inspection we find that 32 is much nearer to 1024 than 38, and therefore the square root of 1024 is 32. So that is called as the units and tens digit method of finding out the square root. A few important properties of square root we have discussed. A few of them are slightly typical, and you have to understand them by practice, and it comes only by practice, especially the long division method of finding square root. You have to practice it with a few numbers and then understand the procedure, and it's a very important method of finding out the square root of any number, that is by long division method, and it is very much useful, and it has got its own application in mathematics. So please learn it and practice it and note down in a book for your future reference. Okay, thank you.